Okay guys, well welcome to the first Mystery Teachings research notes, decoding the real 13 tribes of Israel. And what I'm going to do is go and look through all of the religious paintings and all of the alchemy diagrams, and I'm basically going to decode the symbolism and bring out the information. And I'm going to do that by confirming the symbolism and the numbers in a continuous pattern, so we can see that this is the information that was being left to us continuously over and over again. And so due to me now wanting to start decoding all of this information, because it was left there to be decoded, and this is where we're going to find more information, and this is how I basically research, and the language that we should be speaking is the language of symbolism. So what I'm going to do is actually focus on that, and due to that I'm not going to really delve into any research into Teutha de Danann just now. I've taken what I've needed so far from Teutha de Danann to confirm the information we've already got, and so I'm not the type of researcher now that's going to delve into all of the mythology and sift through what the fairy tales have become, because we have to understand that the reason that these stories seem so disjointed and hard to understand sometimes is because as they've been handed down, there's been parts that have been mixed up and forgotten, and they don't quite fit how they used to. So this is why I research in the way that I do, and I pull the symbolism and then I go and search for the symbolism. Okay, not the other way around, because that's what most people do when they research, and this is why we really only ever then have an understanding for the interpretation given to us by other researchers about the mythology that everyone continues to keep as a story, as a mythology, as a kindergarten story, as something that's just, oh, isn't it a lovely fairy tale? And they've really lost the importance of the symbolism within it, and also the sacred geometry within it, because it's all attached to that. It's all connected to each other. This is how we know that the information is solid, because the numbers keep showing up, and this is why I want to start decoding all of these religious paintings and also these alchemy drawings. I mean, there's so much information within these diagrams and paintings, and now that we have also started revealing more information and more numbers and more understanding of what they mean, we need to go and apply that now and start bringing out more of this information, so we get an understanding for all of the tribes of Israel, and also the thrones of Israel and the other messiahs. Because remember, this is only one race. We've got three others. We've got three other messiahs, and at the moment we're only really focusing on the information that we can find, and so this is building our picture up. So the more information that's out there about the certain symbols, that is what the information is going to find for us first. That is what we're going to pull first. And so this is why we're finding Teutha de Danann, tribe of Dan, and all of this information going to Dan, because Dan is very important as it connects to the first begotten Son, the mental creation of the divine mind onto the physical plane. And so this is why we uncover this information first with the tribe of Dan and the tribe of Reuben, because remember, as I said, they are the foundation that then the emotion attaches or emanates from. So I did just want to show you one more thing that I found interesting, though, before we start delving into the decode of the couple of religious paintings that I've got, is the way that we can look at words as confirming information. Because we see Teutha de Danann, tribe of Dan, we're seeing a pattern. Idunna, okay, and then when we look at the word Danu, for the queen, and Nuada for the king, we can find them as well in the Norse mythology and the Norse goddess that is directly connected to Danu. And we have both Danu and almost Nuada, but we have an extra A added in for Nuada, and I think this is also symbolic of the, first begotten, the emanation of the divine mind. So it is going to be a slight difference, but I just wanted to show you that this is the type of etymology that you're looking at, that the confirmation that comes from ancient mythology and scripture over and over with the etymology of the words. Okay, not just putting those root words into other words and saying, oh, this means this now. That's not how I research, okay? I need the information to confirm itself continuously before I accept it. And that's why I let the information confirm itself, and people are often not understanding the type of way that I research. It's not through sifting through book after book after book after book, though I've got them, and I find that I pick them up and start reading them when I need to, or if the author just happens to cross my path, when I'm doing some research and I've got that book, I'll go and have a look at it if I'm guided to. And that's what I'm saying, allowing the hermit's lantern to lead you on your inner path of seeking knowledge and understanding for thyself, because that's trusting in thyself, not trusting in what some researcher says because he's got 10 best-selling novels, okay? And he seems to know what he's talking about in regards to Egypt. But all he's doing is regurgitating all of the other party line, but just cherry-picking bits and pieces of other mythology to insert within the party line that's already there. And, this is why we never really have an understanding for the information, because all we're doing is regurgitating speculation. And so we have to now go back to the root of all of the knowledge that we've been given, which is the number code, sacred geometry, and what that is connected to in relation to the symbolism, and that is telling the story itself. Okay, so let's get stuck into this decode and some of the information that we can get from these religious paintings. Now, to start with, I've chosen the Ghent Altarpiece, or the Ghent Altarpiece, okay? And it is a really well-known piece. It's quite large, and it's called the Adoration of the Mystic Lamb, or the Lamb of God. And it's got all of these panels that are telling a different story in regards to the messiahs and the divine ones. And so we can see this now by going back with the numbers and the symbolism that we already know, and having a look at what we can decode from the paintings. Now, I'm just going to give you a basic overview of these panels up the top, but the ones down the bottom, I'm not really going to go into them in this video because I don't want this video to be too long. And so if you guys want to check this out, it looks like we've got the horses there, maybe some different colours of horses. We know that that's significant. Also over here, we've got, some colours and a certain number of people. So there could be information in there that you might be able to pull out. I'm sure there is. It's just a matter of having an understanding for it. But really what we're looking for is symbols and numbers. And we let the symbolism then speak to us, and we start learning the language of symbolism instead of just being trapped, bound to only the language of words and the written word. Now, up the top here, we've got the Creator, we've got God, and then we've got Mary Magdalene, and she is, reading knowledge, sacred knowledge. And we have Jesus, and he's not reading the knowledge, he's actually looking directly at the Creator. And this is because he's actually receiving divine intelligence directly through Ketha from the divine Creator, the divine mind. And if we have a look on the outsides here at these panels, we can see that this is a representation of the part of the Messiahs that always remains on foundation. Remember how I said a part of the Messiahs is always remaining on foundation as part of the divine mind, because it can never actually divide from itself. So we're seeing Adam and Eve as this representation of the part of the divine that always remains. Even in the garden, the 5 trees in the garden, that still is a part of them when we move into lower consciousness out of the ether. And so this is what these are representing on the outside. Now here we have what looks to be 4 females. Now I'm taking this for the 4 female messiahs, and then we've got a 5th here that are, that is playing an instrument. Now, there could be some layered symbolism here, because 5 is also the will of the divine, the destiny, the covenant, okay, the hierophant. So we could be seeing this in relation to the creator, because we see, music and resonance, and this is also indicating how divine intelligence is relayed through vibration and resonance. Okay, so we could also be seeing that in relation to the divine destiny of the messiahs. Over here we've got 8, and we've got what looks to be the 4 females in the front and then the 4 males at the back. So once again signifying the 8 messiahs. Okay. Now this is the part that I really wanted to decode. So we can leave the other parts for later, and if anybody wants to go and check them out, please feel free to do that, and then let me know if you've found anything significant. So once again we've got this piece here. I've actually broken it up into different parts and enlarged it to make it easier for us. We've got the Lamb of God here directly underneath Ketha. Okay, the Holy Spirit, the return of God consciousness, the return of divine intelligence, the return of our illumination. And it's basically illuminating the first begotten Son of the Father, who is then outpouring his wisdom to the female Messiah, the female intellect, to basically empower and illuminate the collective. And this is how it basically all plays out, and how we are all part of this feedback of us and the divine mind. And so the more that understand who they are, the more that understand the truth of reality and not the created reality that we're all actually existing in at the moment in lower consciousness, the more that illuminate. And it's this feedback system. And so the more information we get, and then the more we illuminate, because we couldn't just get all of this information at once. We would just overload and probably blow our circuits or something, so it wouldn't, really probably be beneficial to us to get an overload of light, communication, intelligent, divine wisdom at once. So what happens is we're just consciously expanding at the pace at where we're understanding the information that's being relayed to us. And so we see this symbolism, and now we understand it. And we understand that the Lamb is a part of the Messiah. We understand that's also what the Ark of the Covenant is as well, that it stands upon, and that Holy Grail is the female intellect and the divine, female Messiah, Mary Magdalene. And then on each side here, we've actually got 6. So we're now seeing the 12 tribes of Israel. But we're also seeing the 2 extra messiahs. And we're also seeing the 4 thrones within the 12 tribes. See how they layer the symbolism? Now over here I have counted, and I do think I get 64. I'm not sure, and I'm not going to focus on that, though 64 is an important number. So if someone again wants to confirm that for me, that would be great. But remember, when you have a look at the Mystery Teachings research notes, we've seen what the I Ching, and we've seen that the 64 relates to the 12 tribes of Israel, and it's also to do with the paths of destiny, and also, you know, the number of codons within our DNA, the number of ways the I Ching coins can actually fall on either side and create a pattern is 64. So 64 is a very important number in relation to destiny and God's will as well. Okay, but what I'm going to focus on is that there are 4 females at the front, okay, and over this side too we have 4 males in the hats at the front. We can quite clearly see that they have been singled out. So once again, we've got the 4 thrones within the 12 tribes of Israel, but also we've got the 8 messiahs, the 4 females and the 4 males within the 8 messiahs. Now also with the cross, we're looking at the Ankh here. Okay, now the Ankh is representative of divinity within us as well. Okay, and it's interesting that we also see that they're all looking to the Lamb and the Holy Grail. Okay, and they're pointing to the Lamb and the Holy Grail. And they're showing us that this is our divinity. Okay, our divinity is returning when the Creator, Ketha, the Divine Mind, once again illuminates, which is what's happening now, and consciousness returns as we move into high consciousness again. We don't always exist like this on this planet, and I'm really sorry for people that can't get out of that and can't understand that this is not the real way we exist on the planet. We're only in lower consciousness for a very short amount of time. When you look at the cycle, we pretty much are in the golden age for half the cycle, and then halfway through the cycle there is a huge event that happens, some cosmic cataclysmic event that causes us to lose not only our foundation, but also we start descending in consciousness. So we have to rebuild quickly with what we know, and then we start the slow descent in the beyond the Silver Gate, and this is what I'm finding it's called, the Silver Gate. So we're right at the end now, which is probably only about 5,000 years, 6,000 years in a 26,000 year cycle. And so you can see that really we do not spend a lot of time existing on foundation, playing out in lower consciousness and working only through the mental. But this is also part of the experience of creation. And just like the tides and just like the moon, it waxes and wanes. Okay, and so we have to start understanding that that's how the universe works. There's no solid straight line forward like Darwin said. Darwin was used, just like Einstein, to push the party line. And unfortunately, you know, this has put people in that mindset that traps them there. And this is why, you know, seeking thyself is not easy. Because you have to unprogram with the program they've been pushing into our brains since we started school. And you know now when you start becoming more conscious and you start becoming more aware of the program and aware of the actual facts, just how much we're being programmed and just how much we have been programmed. So down the bottom here I found it interesting too, because just below the 4 messiahs here, we've got the fountain that is springing actually 4 springs. Now this one you can't quite see, you can just see it a little bit down the bottom, but I'd say it's just faded out, but you can actually see the spout, and you can see that there's 4, and they fall into this 8-sided pond, okay, or fountain. And so once again we're seeing the 4 messiahs emanating out like a spring, and then illuminating the collective. And so we can see that now, that the collective are being illuminated. They're gaining the wisdom, they're gaining the emotion and the understanding. Because remember, it's not just wisdom, it's not just the mental. We can't just have the mental and exist in the mental, or this is what the outcome is, you know, what we're living now. No thank you. Had enough of that. So it's about, you know, seeking and understanding, but also emotionally applying that understanding through the heart, okay, so that we are illuminating the collective and illuminating ourselves. And so that's pretty much what I found there. I really also think if we looked more into it, and I just won't for the moment because I've got some more I want to bring you, but if you kind of look at this from a different perspective, guys, that could also, you know, kind of look like a mouth, and that's like a chin, right? And that could be like the pineal gland, third eye, and then that could be Ketha and the consciousness about to flow over into the pineal gland and illuminate, or the third eye and illuminate the Ark of the Covenant, because it all comes through Ketha, okay? And illuminates through Ketha and then into the heart. Remember, it starts at the mental first and it pools in the heart. So I just found that interesting, and that maybe some, may want to check that out a bit more, because I was just looking at it in that way, and I'm trying to look at things in a bit of a different perspective now, instead of just always looking at it for decoding information, but actually look at it in a way of this type of information that they were showing us as well. And I think that this type of information, guys, the way we see pattern matches like this, I've noticed with a few of the guys that are helping me research, that this is what you tend to give me, guys. I don't know if you realise it, but you actually tend to see the pattern recognition in the information and see what they're relaying in a different way, and then I tend to be able to look at the codes and look at the symbolism. And I think that this is where the wisdom and the female intellect works together. And so this is how we unlock the information. So we have to start, understanding that when we bring the two together as one, there's really no way that they can stop the information flow, which is why they've tried to separate us, really, when it comes down to it, because they know that the power we hold when we harmonise is, unlimited, really. So anyway, we've got this other painting, and I don't quite remember the name of this. It's just, I know that Tiffany did go and seek this name out, and I can just almost remember it, and I've just forgotten, guys, but please, feel free to go and get that information. I mean, when you're this far along in research, going and researching names of paintings, and that's really boring and it's really time consuming. So, if I don't have a name for a painting, just go and look it up, go and look for it and do some seeking. I mean, this is where you benefit yourselves in finding out information as well, so I can't just spoon feed everything. So I'll just pick out what I can find with the information that I'm actually familiar with, which is, we've got the 12 either side here, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and the same over here. Okay, so we're seeing now the 24 divine ones. We're seeing again that we've got the Messiah, the first begotten Son, the mental reflection of the divine mind, shown here with the Lamb, okay? And also around him, he has the seraphs, I think they're called. I'm not sure. If somebody wants to just confirm that for me and write that in comments, would be good. And we can see that we've got the 6 wings, okay? But then we've also got 4 as well. We've got the 4 here as well, showing the 8, but then we can also see 6 on either side, showing the 12. See how there's layers, within the symbolism. This is why they do it the way that they do. And we see it down the bottom now. So we've also now got the 4 thrones, the 4 messiahs, but now we've also got the 6 within each of the thrones, because remember, we've got 6 divine ones within each throne, okay? So, we're seeing this again and again in all of the symbolism. And that's what I'm saying, and that's why I think the more I begin to do this over and over, the more you guys start seeing the pattern, and then you can go and actually start finding it yourselves. And once again, we see the 6 joining at the middle, okay? We see the divine female Messiah with the book right next to Ketha. She is actually being given the information directly from Ketha, from the wisdom of the male, from the wisdom of the Messiah. She then accesses her divinity, because they have to work together. That's how their divinity works. It doesn't work any other way. That's how the universe has it. Doesn't matter if we want to mentally override that. There just really is no way that the universe will, stop the expansion of itself, and the creator will not, stop expanding on itself, and this cycle will always be continual. And as we illuminate and we remember ourselves, then we can begin to access more of our divinity. And so this is what we're doing. And look at this. We've got the little boat. Got the little boat on the emotion again, okay? Applying the knowledge to emotion, ending it up in emotion, ending it up in Ephraim. Okay, here's our foundation over here. Here's our castle. Here's our emotion. Here's our physical. Here's our, consciousness, our emotion. So, and this is what we're doing, riding the waves, and actually harmonizing the two. Okay, so we've also got this one. How am I going for time? Okay, 25 minutes, still not too bad. Might get this in under about maybe 40 minutes, I'll try. I don't ramble on too much. Okay, now we've got Jesus here again, but we're now seeing the 4 different thrones shown in the creatures. Okay, and we've got the eagle here. We've got man here, all right? But we've also, I think, got an indication of man. But I'll show you that I think this is also a connection with man here, straight under the eagle, because what we're seeing again is the eagle, Ketha, being brought down onto foundation, okay, Reuben, and basically playing out emotionally. Or we can see it as the mental, Ketha, being brought down into our divinity, which is the St. George's cross, into our Christ within, to culminate in man, okay, as well, to be brought down, over to man, and then down here with fire into determination and will, okay, and over here to emotion. Because remember, when we've looked at the Manly P. Hall illustration, that we saw this same crossover where we see Ketha start to transmute into emotion, and man transmute into determination and will, his drive, his instinct. It's basically man's instinct, okay, what he connects to fire up, to go to war, to go get food and go hunt, okay, to survive, to experience the physical plane that he exists upon, not dominated by mental, mentalism, which is what we've done now. We're not actually living very instinctively anymore. We've removed ourselves from nature, and we've removed ourselves from foundation, and not so much foundation but the physical, because we've really locked ourselves down in foundation. That's the problem. We're really only seeing everything in the physical way they've manifested it. And they've actually manifested it in such a brilliant way. They're actually working against the true information and the knowledge that was given to us. You can actually see their programming works against everything. And this is why when you see them say that certain symbolism is evil, you want to go and look at that symbolism straight away. Okay, but be careful, because sometimes they say something's evil because they want you to look at it too. Certain people that are inquisitive. Okay, so they do poison the well. Be aware of that. Okay, that's why we go back to the numbers all the time, and we get the numbers and the basically backbone of our information, and then we go out and we find other fragments that are connecting to that backbone of information, that solid information that we've already got. And that's how we can dismiss things that don't quite add up anymore, or if they've actually descended consciously and the story slightly changed, we can pick through where the story's changed and pick out the accurate parts of the story, because that's what is actually happening. And then we're picking out these parts of the story and we're putting them to what we've found. So sometimes when we go back to that whole mythology, then because we've found some connection to a certain goddess, and then we go and read all of this mythology about the goddess and then all of these other people that are involved in this story, all we've done is confuse ourselves now, because we're not ready for that. When we're ready for the information, it will reveal itself. Until then, let's just focus on what the information is telling us and not get ahead of ourselves. Because when we start getting ahead of ourselves again into the mental, and we go sifting through all of these books and informations trying to understand, we're back in the mental again. We're back running around chasing, the white rabbit in the mental, okay? We've got to basically kill the white rabbit. and move back into our more intuitive nature, our more instinctive nature. Okay? We don't need the mental rabbit anymore. Okay? We can put him to rest now. And he's who's kept us very busy in lower consciousness, chasing our tails and building lots of things. And basically, as I've said, they've done this to also create a false illusion of reality, and this is how they've trapped us. And so go back to look at the Devil Tarot card and have a look at those chains around your neck, because they're mental chains, okay? And they're keeping you mentally trapped to the physical. And this is why I really feel sorry when people don't quite understand this information, because they're really not bothered to understand it. And I think, wow, what a waste that you've actually had the opportunity. Fate has opened the door for you to find this information, but you just really didn't have the will and desire and the memory of who you are to want to go and find it and seek it. And so you just move back into what other people tell you, what other people, want you to believe and want you to think is reality, but you never really know it because you never really confirm it for yourself absolutely consciously and, also spiritually. And that's what it comes down to. When you accept information on every level, consciously, mentally and spiritually, you are in acceptance, because there's three different steps to the process of accepting your path. And that's first denial, then acceptance, and then embrace, okay? And so what you have to do is embrace this information, actually make it then become part of who you are. This no longer becomes just information. This becomes a knowing to you that you now express. And that's how you tap into more of your power, more of your divinity. You become that conduit that illuminates the collective. And then it just keeps emanating out, and out and out and out, just like the water, the champagne glasses. And I really love that way I look at that visualization, because I was thinking about it before, and I even thought, now if you put water in there instead of champagne, and you could even think of that as ether, and think of the water as ether, because when we look at water in symbolism, remember there's always that, fractal of information and that, meaning of the ether. And so, we can even see it like that. Now, the other interesting thing as well is that we can see that Jesus is the first begotten Son again, the tribe of Dan. We're seeing this here. Jesus is holding the clear orb, and inside the orb there is another manifestation of a smaller orb. This is the Creator showing the first begotten, okay, the emanation, the first 0 point, the thought of the first emanation of himself onto the physical plane. Okay? Now, the other interesting thing is, once again, we've got the checkerboard, and we know we can look at 64 on the checkerboard. Once again, we're seeing that 64. We've got that connection to 64 that I don't quite get yet, because I know it's to do with fate. I know it's to do with destiny. And I know 6 and 4 are 10, and 5 is fate, and that's all, Wheel of Fortune, that's destiny, that's, our paths are basically destined to re-illuminate. And so I know that this is definitely something that is relating to our destiny and to God's will and destiny on the foundation. And I'm wondering, now I don't know, I need more confirmation, but this has got me wondering whether we have 64 paths at every point of free will. Okay? And so that's how all of us then interact with cause and effect, and we just create our own reality from then on. But there's only 64 paths, but whoever knows what path is, so it's always, this outcome is never known, but it's always known because the paths are always there. And then that makes the quote in the Colburn about destiny makes sense. Also makes the principle of cause and effect makes sense, where it says that chance is just a name for a law unrecognised, meaning that chance is a law too. Okay, so this is just what I'm thinking about. Would love to hear what you guys think. It's always good to bounce this off you guys and see if you're resonating, because remember, what's speaking to us is our divinity. So if things don't really fit and don't sound right, then we know there's something not quite there that is right, and so we go back and reassess it. Okay, so we also know that we've got Jesus represented here just below the eagle, and we've got the connection to Ketha and the tribe of Dan, because we also see this here with Jesus and basically the flag of St. George, but also we see him in the same stance here with the same cross, okay? And this is called the Rosarium Philosophorum, and it was illustrated in 1550, and it's the complete sequence of the alchemy of the twin souls, okay? And showing at the end, the green lion eating the sun is actually alchemy. And if you look at alchemy and what that means in alchemy, it means that matter is being stripped away and gold is being found underneath. And so this is basically what the sun does, okay? The sun purifies by stripping away the matter and only leaving the gold and the purified underneath. Okay, this is why we see it called the purified land, the land of milk and honey and all of this. But this is actually what it means in alchemy. If you actually go and have a look in alchemy, the green lion eating the sun. And so we see this process then transforms the messiahs, and we see again that we have the cross of St. George connected to the first begotten Son, which is the mental projection of the divine mind onto foundation. So we see more confirmation there with Jesus in there, and now Jesus over here with the eagle. Okay, and now St. George. So now we can look at all of that information in regards to St. George, okay, and what St. George is doing, all right, because if we can connect this to divinity, as well as we're seeing man here. So I am going to also attribute some of this symbolism to Reuben as well, okay, but then we're also seeing Reuben over here, because we normally do see Ketha and Reuben, tribe of Dan and tribe of Reuben, either side, or we see them up and down. But, we are looking now at also the tribe of Dan. So this symbolism is somewhat different in the way of its placement. So we have to take that into account. So that's why I'm just looking here, as if we see Ketha, Malkuth, and Ketha being brought down into the divinity onto the foundation of Malkuth. Okay? But then also seeing this as man as well, because we get this ethereal man, physical man, but ethereal man and man, soul man, man in his, truest nature and form is basically, or first form I should say, because he is also in his truest form physically, but is actually into, fire and will. And then we've got the air into the emotion, which pools in the emotion and ends up in emotion, okay? Always ends up in the heart and pooling. Okay, nearly there, guys. Looks like I'm going to do it under 45 minutes. Okay, so now we have the cross once again. I just wanted to show you how the red cross continually turns up in reference to the twin-headed eagles. Okay, once again we see the twin-headed eagles. We see this in the Mason symbolism with the 33 up the top, the crown, the Ketha. Okay, and we see that on the pendant as well. And we also see the red and the eagles, the twin-headed eagles, once again, Ketha being crowned up the top. The sword, okay, as well, the law, the word, the wisdom of the divine mind, the intelligent, divine intelligence, and Ketha also being confirmed with the pendant, again with 33 crowned at the top. So there you go, guys. There is my first decoding video of religious art. So I hope you have enjoyed that. And I'll link everything underneath that has been discussed. And yeah, you can look at that for yourself in a bit more detail, especially if you want to go and have a look at more of the information that I haven't had a chance to really delve right into. But I'll leave it here for now, and as always, peace out.